I saw her on a TV show, and I had never seen her before, and I said, that's it.
In a world where every smile is carefully choreographed and every handshake seems picture perfect, Hollywood often hides its darkest truths under bright lights and red carpets. While many stars keep their rivalries quiet, some feuds simmer beneath the surface for years, unspoken but unmistakable. Robert Redford, the golden boy of American cinema, is admired for his grace, intelligence, and stoic charm. But even he, behind that calm and cool exterior, has his limits. Over his long and celebrated career, Redford quietly clashed with several big-name actors. Some over ego, others over personality, and a few for simply not sharing his vision of what Hollywood should be. Here are the 7 actors Robert Redford reportedly couldn't stand, and the full story behind each one. 1. Chevy Chase. The Joker who went too far. Chevy Chase burst onto the scene in the 1970s as one of the original cast members of Saturday Night Live, blazing a trail with his dry wit and physical comedy. But with fame came an equally notorious reputation for being difficult, sarcastic, and egotistical. Redford, known for his calm presence and serious work ethic, found himself irritated by Chase's careless approach to acting and his tendency to mock even the most serious situations. According to insiders, Redford believed Chase had no sense of when to switch it off. While Redford respected humor, he viewed Chase's immaturity as disruptive, especially on professional sets where focus was key. During a rumored attempt to cast both in a mid-80s comedy project, Redford allegedly declined, privately calling Chase a distraction more than a collaborator. Their personalities clashed from day one. One an icon of sophistication, the other a symbol of irreverent chaos. 2. Barbra Streisand, sparks on-screen, fire off-screen. In The Way We Were, 1973, Robert Redford and Barbra Streisand created magic. Their chemistry sizzled, their emotional scenes touched millions, but behind the scenes, it was a completely different story. Streisand, a powerhouse in both voice and will, had strong ideas about her character, the script, and nearly every scene. Redford, who preferred a more quiet, naturalistic process, found her constant input exhausting. He was reportedly frustrated by her tendency to question the director, rewrite lines, and control the narrative. But Redford never denied Streisand's talent. He admired her intelligence and charisma, but he also described her as relentlessly intense, saying she made even the simplest scenes complicated. When offered a sequel decades later, Redford declined, allegedly saying, "One movie was enough." The irony: their on-screen friction was part of what made the film so unforgettable. Off-screen, that same energy left scars. 3. Marlon Brando, the mad genius Redford couldn't trust. Marlon Brando was more than a legend. He was a force of nature. But with that brilliance came unpredictability. Redford, who admired Brando's early work like On the Waterfront and A Streetcar Named Desire, found himself baffled by Brando's erratic later behavior. During the late 70s, the two were briefly attached to a film project, but rehearsals never clicked. Redford, always prepared, was stunned when Brando showed up late, mumbled his lines, or ignored the script entirely. Brando believed in improvisation and chaos. Redford believed in discipline and structure. According to one production assistant, Redford said, "Working with Brando is like dancing with a ghost. You never know if he's even in the room." The project eventually fell apart, and Redford reportedly swore off working with Brando ever again. Their styles, backgrounds, and philosophies were just too far apart. One was fire, the other, ice. 4. Steve McQueen, the Cold War of the cool kids.
There was a time in the 1960s and 70s when every leading man role in Hollywood came down to two names, Steve McQueen and Robert Redford. Both were handsome, charismatic, and wildly popular. But behind the movie posters was a rivalry laced with jealousy and quiet resentment. McQueen was streetwise, gritty, and guarded. Redford was thoughtful, composed, and more classically trained. McQueen reportedly viewed Redford as a pretty boy who hadn't
earned his stripes, while Redford felt McQueen's insecurity made him paranoid and difficult.
The feud escalated when McQueen allegedly blocked Redford from being cast alongside him in the towering Inferno, insisting on top billing and a final say on who would co-star. Redford took the snub personally. From then on, he kept his distance. While both icons left legacies, their icy relationship is one of Hollywood's most quietly intense rivalries, two men too similar to get along, yet too proud to ever admit it.
5. Ryan O'Neal, golden boy with a stormy temper. At first glance, Ryan O'Neal and Robert Redford seemed cut from the same cloth, blonde, charming, and adored by audiences. But the resemblance stopped there.
Redford, raised on respect and hard work, reportedly viewed O'Neal as immature, moody, and dangerously impulsive. O'Neal's personal life was a storm of controversies, public fights, on-set tantrums, and a volatile reputation that made producers nervous. During a joint charity event in the early 1980s, Redford was said to be cordial but cold, barely acknowledging O'Neal. Rumors swirled that Redford turned down a major dramatic role opposite O'Neal, saying he didn't want to babysit on set. O'Neal's fame may have shined bright, but to Redford, it wasn't worth the drama.
6. James Caan, too tough, too wild. James Caan embodied the gritty, street-tough style of acting that made him perfect for The Godfather. But off-screen, his fiery temper and no-filter attitude created tension everywhere he went, including with Redford. In the late 70s, the two were nearly cast together in a crime thriller. During early meetings, Redford reportedly found Caan brash and aggressive, talking over people, dismissing others' opinions, and treating the crew with little patience. Redford walked away from the project. When asked why, he allegedly said, "He's a good actor, but not someone I want to share a set with." Caan, in his usual unfiltered style, later said Redford was a little uptight and too perfect. This wasn't just a clash of style, it was a full-on personality mismatch. 7. Bruce Willis, from Cool to Cold Shoulders. By the 1990s, Redford had evolved into a respected director and producer, while Bruce Willis was the poster boy for action comedy swagger. When the two were in early talks for a film collaboration, things unraveled fast. Willis reportedly showed up late to meetings, seemed disinterested, and mocked script ideas. Redford, used to professionalism and preparation, was appalled. He saw Willis as a symbol of the newer, less respectful generation of Hollywood stars. The collaboration fizzled before it began. Redford later described the experience, without naming Willis, as a reminder that not all actors take the work seriously. It was a clear no from Redford, and a final name on his unspoken list of actors he'd rather never work with again. Hollywood isn't just about talent, it's about chemistry, values, and respect. Robert Redford's legacy is built on artistic integrity, discipline, and quiet power. And while he's never been known to publicly slam his peers, the stories behind the curtain reveal a man who, despite his charm, had little patience for arrogance, chaos, and ego. These 7 actors, each iconic in their own right, simply didn't pass Redford's test. Whether it was a matter of style, personality, or principle, the tensions were real. And in the world of Hollywood, even silence can speak volumes. Thanks for joining us as we uncovered the hidden rifts behind Hollywood's perfect smile. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Robert Redford's private list of clashes and contradictions, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes drama, rock legends, and untold stories from the world of fame. This is Rock Fame Diaries, where celebrity stories are always worth telling. God bless.